Welcome in, everybody, to FandomNFL. I'm your QB1, Joe Pizzapia, and we got a great show for you today. As always, I want to welcome all my people to the channel. If you're watching for the first time, welcome to FandomNFL. We do things a little differently here. What we're trying to do is give you the best information you could possibly get. That way you can make the best investments you can in your fantasy, in your wagering, and just in your NFL lifestyle, because that's how we live here. It was another great weekend of expert drafts. We might talk a little bit about those depending on how long we go today. The real reason we're here is the quarterback position. We're going to start our rankings breakdown, look at some of the consensus over on RotoWire, see where there might be some availability for us to make a move in our investments. I just came from the Superflex Flex League Championship draft this past weekend, which is great fun. I've got several belts from winning that league from over the years. Yeah, that's right. Pretty good. But I need to get another one. I lost in the finals last year. Wasn't happy about it. Drafted from the 6th spot. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit and break that down for you. Kind of the what you should do where in Superflex, because, single quarterback leagues, it's pretty easy right now. It's Josh Allen, and it seems like pretty much everybody else. Yes, there's tiers. Yes, we're going to talk about them, but late QB looks like the way to go. So I'm going to break down that whole strategy for you. But before we get to all of that, we got to talk about some NFL camp news, and I got to start with Ricky Pearsall, Deebo Samuel, everything that went down. So let's talk about it, because Ricky Pearsall is going to be out for the year. It's such an unfortunate set of circumstances for this young man. First, he gets shot in his rookie season, literally shot. Then we have to go through other injuries with him the last couple seasons where he just can't stay on the field, which absolutely stinks. You saw some flashes last year between him and Brock Purdy. And I hope that this isn't a situation where we're looking at a career that just never gets off the ground. I don't think that's where we're at. So if you're in dynasty situations, you're looking to acquire somebody on the cheap at wide receiver, I would think about Ricky Pearsall. I think a lot of frustration by the Ricky Pearsall manager has to be floating out there right now. But what you did have is a reaction here by the organization to go ahead and bring somebody back home again, somebody who knows the offense, Deebo Samuel. So if you look at last year, got off to a good start last season with the Commanders. The 49ers jettisoned him last season. Obviously, they were paying Brandon Ayuk a lot of money. Deebo Samuel last year, 72 catches, 727 yards, 5 touchdowns. The projections this year, a little, I would say reserved. 46 receptions, 646 yards, 3 touchdowns. Now, the thing about Deebo Samuel in this offense, too, we know that Kyle Shanahan does like to get him the football in different ways. You'll see the jet sweeps. You'll see him take handoffs. You'll see a lot of different things from Deebo Samuel, and I think that is the key. Deebo Samuel projections, I think, right now on RotoWire are showing you probably what he would have been in a generic free agent circumstance. As of Monday or Tuesday, you're going to start to see those projections get updated a little bit. Stribling is there, the rookie that they brought in. I don't know how much he is going to play over a guy like Deebo Samuel, who is familiar with the offense. This is very much a win now team, so you got to take that into account. You have age with Mike Evans as a free agent. Great player, Hall of Famer, but age, no doubt about that. You've also got a circumstance where you have the player coming in who is familiar already with the playbook, who is a veteran. They know what he can do. They know what his limitations are. So how he shows up into camp, what shape he's in, means a lot. So we'll see that in the next few days and how ready Deebo Samuel truly is going to be. But again, win now team. Age on Evans. Age on Deebo a little bit now. Age on Christian McCaffrey entering his age 30 season. George Kittle coming off a torn Achilles. There's a lot happening here. So to me, this window is very tight for the San Francisco 49ers. That means Deebo Samuel goes back into the pool as I think, viable wide receiver 5 for sure. Maybe even a wide receiver 4 if things break right. That's where I have him right now. So if you had some early best ball leagues and you took him really late as a wide receiver 6 or 7, you're loving life right now. So let's keep an eye on him. Let's see what he shows up to training camp as. But I think we all know right now that situation is important. That situation is one to monitor. And Mike Evans' health last year also was tricky. So if he should miss time, that could mean even more potential upside for somebody like Deebo Samuel. Now, Deebo Samuel's not the player he was 5 years ago. Okay, so let's be clear about that as well. At the same time, I think we do take away that it's a viable signing for the 49ers. It's the best possible situation, in my opinion. He was never going to be a number 1 somewhere. What he is going to be, though, is a guy that's going to contribute and fall right back into a playbook that is tailor-made for him with a coach that knows exactly how to get the best out of him. So now it's just a matter of, is Deebo ready to get to work? let's get to work here, shall we? And of course, I was mentioning before, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you like this channel. We want you to subscribe and ring the bell till it goes ding so you never miss a new piece of content. Judge Joey came back last week, made his triumphant return to YouTube, and I appreciate all of you joining me live. We will bring Judge Joey back again. And if you love Judge Joey enough, maybe he'll be the host of the trade show on this channel. I think that could be a big win here for everybody. So keep those likes coming, keep those comments coming. As I said, I gave you a week to claim your jersey. You didn't, so we're bringing it back, all right? So the Zay Flowers autographed jersey is available for one of you. I was hoping to give this away. I did not hear from somebody in a week. I want to give this away, so it's back up for grabs. So I'm sorry, Follow. We did our best. We tried to get in touch with you. I even pinged you on the YouTube, but now we already hit 1,000 subs, so yeah, I'm going to give away a Black Book too. Of course I am. I'm a man of my words when we get to 2,500, but we're also going to give away the Zay Flowers here when we get to that mark as well. So let's get to 2,500. Let's get that Zay Flowers jersey. I wanted Follow to get it. Look, I even made up the nice little graphic with the comment. Took me, I don't know, 30 seconds to do, but still, I went and did the work. So Follow, if you can get to me today, it's still yours. If not, it goes back to the people. Again, signed Zay Flowers jersey is for somebody out there. Drop your comments, like this video. That's all you got to do to win. All right, so let's talk about the quarterback situation here, and it is a very deep one. In the last couple years in the Black Book, I've been writing about how the quarterback position has been kind of tough. You've seen a lot of youth. You've seen a lot of inexperience. And I knew that was going to have an effect on offenses as a whole in the NFL, and it has. And the other effect that it had that you saw in spades last year was the fact that offenses were going back and leaning heavily upon run games. We saw kind of a running back renaissance last season. Now, I don't think it's going to be quite the same this year, but there is definitely a much better, what I like to call soft middle, quote unquote, at the position from 10 to about 16 that you feel pretty good about those guys. And what that means is in Superflex leagues, you can go and you can attack the quarterback position. And at the same time, if you don't have one of the top 5-6 picks and you don't like one of those guys at the very top, you can go ahead and go for your first 2 picks, maybe even 3, go position player, skill set player, depending on where you are in the draft and how disciplined the rest of the league is, and still come away with 2 pretty decent quarterbacks. We'll talk more about that and the strategy, so let's bring up the rankings here, shall we? And let's talk about some of these guys we're going to see with our own eyes over on RotoWire. These are the ranks right now that you can find, and you'll see, of course, Josh Allen at the top, as he should be. That makes a ton of sense. Not going to argue with that. Next you have, and I will say, Josh Allen, I do believe is a tier unto himself. Then I think you have this next tier. Now, Lamar Jackson is number 2. I still have Drake May number 2, based off of what he did last year, based off of the rushing yards. To me, you have some unknown going into the season with Lamar Jackson. You have a new head coach. You have a new offensive coordinator. You have the same pieces, and I expect them to run pretty much the same. But I think when you have to take into consideration what Drake May was able to do last year with a pretty much no-name wide receiver group, the fact that he does run a ton, which I don't think is going to change. A lot more than people realize. It was one of the things I said when he came out of college. Make sure you pay attention to the rush yards when it comes to Drake May. Last year, he had 450 of them, and I think he can get back to that number again. He also had 4 rushing touchdowns. If you look last year, he had 4,394 passing yards, 31 touchdowns, just 8 picks. And now you're adding in A.J. Brown, yet the projections have him moving backwards. I don't understand that. Now, theoretically, it's kind of like more of a sophomore season because he barely played his rookie year, but I don't get that. To me, Drake May is still the number 2 guy, and it's not homerism. It's not because I'm wearing this shirt. I certainly told you all about the inefficiencies and the problems with Mac Jones and Cam Newton over the years, so this is not a homer thing. I put all that stuff aside. This is not about your fandom or my fandom. It's about making sure that we get the best players we can on our fantasy teams. So Drake May at 5, if you're finding him going there, that is a huge value. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think he's going to be closer to 2 or 3. If you want to put Lamar at 3, I'm good with that. Joe Burrow, I think, is just a little bit safer just from the style of play, which is always the fact. Joe Burrow still can move in the pocket as well. Let's not forget that. But Lamar as number 2 or 3 is fine. I think Drake May's a little safer because you know exactly what you're getting in this offense. It's another year for him to grow with Josh McDaniel, and I think that is very important as well. Continuity matters. The offensive ecosystem matters. So I do want to split hairs here at the top. Not that I have a lot of hairs to split. I'm well aware of that, and I'm sure I'm going to see that in the comments. So for me, I'm going to go Drake May, who's currently 5 on RotoWire, all the way up at 2. I'm going to go Lamar Jackson over here at 3, and then I'll have Joe Burrow at 4. Jalen Hurts is the 4 on RotoWire. I'll put him down at 5. That's fine by me. If you want to make the case for Jaden Daniels, I get that too. Now, the problem with Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels is this, right? You have Jaden Daniels, who last season took a pretty rough beating at the quarterback position. We knew that was going to be the case here. We knew that Jaden Daniels, sophomore slump, whatever you want to call it, we knew that there was going to be some adjustment from the rest of the league. What we didn't know is we would have so many injuries, not just to Jaden Daniels, but all the pieces around him. Losing Terry McLaurin, Debo's health being spotty at times. Also, what they did to the run game, making it very suspect right before the season, trading Brian Robinson Jr. There was a lot of issues there. So if you look at the projections for this year, 3,400 yards, 23 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 582 rushing yards, and 4 touchdowns. I think this is also a little conservative and careful. I think what this is telling you is there's going to be a little bit more Jaden Daniels, I think, possibly missing some time here and there. The style of play of Jaden Daniels was very clear at LSU. We saw him not always run out of bounds. We saw him try to get the extra yard. It's something that Jackson Dart kind of learned the hard way last season. I think we're going to see a little bit more of that. But if you are in a league where, that quarterback position in terms of points really is skewed differently, if you're in a super flex league, I like rolling the dice of Jaden Daniels. Now, the Jaden Daniels versus Jalen Hurts conversation, I think, is a very fair one. I think Daniels has just a tad more upside this year, but I think Jalen Hurts is the safer pick. So if you want to start in a super flex, let's say late first round, early second round, maybe quarterback discipline in your league is great. I get that. In single quarterback leagues, I continue to wait and let it push. If Jaden Daniels falls, great. If Jalen Hurts falls, great. These guys have rushing equity. They have rushing touchdown upside, and I'm fine with either of them where they're going. I think it makes sense. Dak Prescott is the next guy we're going to talk about here at number 7. So let's get back to the rankings here on RotoWire. At number 7, you have Dak Prescott coming off a great season. The one thing I will say, you have to understand it's probably not going to be quite as prolific. The defense has improved. The secondary is a bit better, which means they're not going to be playing from behind quite as much or as often. He's still got Pickens. He's still got CeeDee Lamb. It's still a terrific offense. So I am all for here Dak Prescott being in this top 10. Last year, he was my late QB. I talked about it on every show that I did. That was the guy that I wanted to target. That good year, bad year, every other year thing is a bunch of nonsense. If only football and life were that simple. So don't look too much into that. Justin Herbert at 8, I think, is appropriate. Patrick Mahomes at 9. You have Trevor Lawrence at 10. I can get behind these rankings. I'm fine with it. If you want to put Trevor Lawrence ahead of Mahomes because of the injury, I think that's okay. I really do. We have some questions. Will Mahomes get right back into running? My guess is he will eventually, and that'll be okay. I still have concerns about Rashee Rice. I have concerns about the Chiefs, just generally speaking. Travis Kelce doesn't look like the Travis Kelce of old. I was surprised he came back for another year. I have some concerns about Kansas City being in a transition. I think you can make the argument for Trevor Lawrence being on the uptick and on the upswing. So Lawrence over Mahomes is scary to think about. It's a little bit different. But if you were to ask me who has the better chance of being MVP this year, I would say it's Trevor Lawrence over Patrick Mahomes. Therefore, Mahomes at 9, I'd rather put him at 10 or even 11, potentially. Trevor Lawrence is at 10. Caleb Williams next at 11. Fine with that. Still some things you want to clean up when it comes to Caleb Williams, making the reads quicker, not having to roll back into the pocket 3 and 4 times and twist and turn all over the place. We'd love to see a little less of that. It did get better as the year went on. Everything did break right for them. The emergence of Colston Loveland is terrific. Luther Burden in year 2, a healthy Rome Odunze, 2 capable running backs. There's a lot to like in this offense, especially if they stay healthy. That I want to see. I completely disagree here with the Jackson Dart at 13. I have to say. I know it's scary. I know Matt Nagy is somebody as an offensive coordinator you lose sleep about in fantasy. I get all that. But to have him at 13 and to have CJ Stroud at 12, I think is absurd. I don't like this ranking at all. I know if you dig deeper to Theo's rankings and some other rankings, it's going to be different, and I encourage you to do that on RotoWire. And by the way, while you're watching the show here, As you can see, all the rankings you can find on RotoWire. We just did a mock draft on RotoWire. If you've never used that software, check it out. And if you're looking for new tools, because maybe you're in the market to shop somewhere else for your fantasy tools this year, download the RotoWire app, use that promo code JoeyP, get 20% off, support this channel. We're an affiliate of RotoWire, which means when you sign up, I can keep the lights on of this channel, and I appreciate every single one of you who makes that change. So again, download the app right now. RotoWire tools are spectacular for your draft, for your in-season. Check them out yourself. Sync your leagues for free, and you'll see the difference. These tools are from 2026, not from 5-10 years ago. They're much more updated. And when you sign up, make sure you don't forget, use that promo code JoeyP at sign up. So let's talk more about Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart certainly has that rushing ability. You see the 481 rushing yards for the projections. I like that. I think it's going to be even more than that. I think the rushing touchdowns will be over 5. I think it's going to be more like 6 or 7, to be honest with you. The question will be the health of Malik Nabers. And I understand, and I take that into account, that the health of Malik Nabers is something that is still right now something that we are unaware of. We're still hoping for the best. We're hoping that Malik Nabers is going to be somebody that can maybe even start week 1. But if he can't, and he misses a month of the season, he looks like Malik Nabers when he comes back. Still a lot of questions. But I do think, regardless, just from a sheer fantasy perspective, the rushing upside of Jackson Dart makes him a top 10 potential quarterback this year again. You look at what his fantasy points per game were. They were spectacular last season when he took over with the job. Was it always pretty? No, it doesn't matter. It's fantasy points. That's what we're looking for. I would take him over CJ Stroud. If you don't want to take him over Caleb or Mahomes or Lawrence, I get that. It's still kind of new. But Jackson Dart is a QB1 this year. Should be drafted as a QB1. The nice thing is, in single quarterback leagues, you can just now wait. You can continue to just wait and let all this stuff play out. Keep taking running backs. Keep taking that premium tight end. Keep taking the wide receiver depth that you want. And then eventually you can come back to the quarterback position. Because if you look who's going basically on that fringe outside of QB12, again, I don't think Jackson Dart in sharper leagues is going to be that guy. Maybe in some of the older leagues that have been existing a long time, maybe you get away with sliding Jackson Dart in late. I would be suspect that that could happen. Jared Goff as the 14th quarterback. And the next guy we're going to talk about, Brock Purdy. So the thing with Jared Goff is, Goff just gets it done every year. Goff is always, for the last couple of years, a fringy QB1 who is going to be right there and available for you. He's going to put up numbers. Yes, he's going to be better in indoor climates. We know the splits. We understand that. But think about all the weapons around him. You know, I know last year was difficult when Ben Johnson left. There was a big transition there, and eventually we had Dan Campbell take over play calling again, and things did get a little bit better. But you still got Amon-Ra. You've got Jahmyr Gibbs, who's all-world. You've still got Jameson Williams. You've got an emerging Isaac Tesla in the red zone, who was really good last year. So if there's an injury to one of those other two wide receivers who are big time in this offense, Tesla, I have a lot of confidence in, can step in and be very productive. I like him as a last pick or two in many leagues, and I tried to get him this weekend. I got sniped by Jeff Ratcliffe, so unfortunately in that last round I didn't get him, but I did get Tank Dell before, so I still got one of the two guys I like to take late at wide receiver, but Tesla is one of them. Because as a rookie, he showed that he can get the job done. He showed that Jared Goff has confidence in him in that red zone. Touchdowns matter, especially in half-point PPR leagues. Know that, understand that, and realize that you're in a spot here with Jared Goff that is very safe. You're also in a really good spot with Brock Purdy. And I know I spoke to earlier some of my concerns and some of the legitimate concerns about the age of the 49ers, that window starting to close. However, it's undeniable that Brock Purdy fantasy points per game are very good. You look at the projections, 3,700 yards, I think he's going to get much closer to 4,000 than 37. I think these are very conservative projections. 25 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Not going to run a whole lot, 250 rushing yards, yeah, probably somewhere in the 2s, maybe 3s if things really break right. He's mobile enough, but he's not really a quote-unquote rushing quarterback. He's not the Drake Mays. He's not Lamar Jackson, certainly, or Josh Allen, and he's not even a Bo Nix, for that matter. But we'll get to him in a second. Brock Purdy's another one of these guys that if you're waiting for late QB, you pounce on him. If you're in a super flex league and Brock Purdy makes it to you and you've already gone with a start, let's say Jamar Chase and Amari and Hampton, and Brock Purdy's there in the third round for you, you smash that. You smash that. He can still be your number one quarterback in a super flex league if you've gone position player early. I love that. And I've talked here on the show about Bo Nix plenty too. That's another guy where I look at the projections and they're basically copy and paste year over year. And we looked at some of them from ESPN. We could look at them from RotoWire also. RotoWire basically showed you the same season, copy and paste. It's a 300-point season basically for him. Okay, I will take that for Bo Nix as the 15th or 16th quarterback off the board. The reigning MVP, Matthew Stafford. We talked about Matthew Stafford here on the show. The reigning MVP, look at the projections, moving from 4,700 to 4,000 yards, from 46 touchdowns to 30 touchdowns. Man, we're really dialing a lot back here for a team that everybody thinks is going to be, Vegas thinks is going to be the top of the Super Bowl. They're the top of the odds right now. So why are we thinking that it's going to be such a massive regression? I know it was brilliant last year, but why can't it be brilliant again, I ask you? I don't understand. I think it can be. Matthew Stafford there, tremendous value if he is the 17th quarterback on the board. I will tell you this, Baker Mayfield at 20 is too low on these rankings right now. I would have him much closer to Purdy and Nix. If you want to take Stafford over him, I'm okay. If you want to put Baker Mayfield as the 18th quarterback, I'm okay with it. I went on a big rant on another show. You can watch it on demand here on the channel about Malik Willis. I get it. The rushing upside is fun. I get it. It's fantasy points. I just think it's going to be a lot of ugly football. You're already seeing Greg Dulcich splitting time. You're already seeing a lot of problems with the wide receiver group, problems with the offensive line, and one of the worst in the league. You have a whole new group coming in here altogether. Sure, Malik Willis is familiar with some of the coaches from the Green Bay days, but it doesn't mean that they all hit the ground running together. Literally, metaphorically, figuratively, all of those things. I will take Baker Mayfield playing for a contract always, anytime. Always bet on Baker Mayfield. And this goes in betting. It goes in fantasy. Baker Mayfield loves to play the underdog. That's his MO in life. Baker Mayfield should not be so low in these rankings. Baker Mayfield is closer to a fringy quarterback 1 than he is this fringy quarterback 2 where he's being drafted. It's nuts to me. Again, he's only 2 years removed from a huge touchdown season, a huge yardage season. So just because there was injuries last year, and injuries not just to him, but to the rest of the team as well, significant time missed for Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Emeka Egbuka was a rookie. There's a lot of problems there last year with the Bucs. This is kind of a fork in the road for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this season. We'll try to get someone on from the Bucs and talk a little bit more about that Baker Mayfield situation and what this team looks like now too with Mike Evans. This is what we love to do. We did the same thing last week with the Jaguars with Mike Dempsey. You can go watch that on demand. It was a great episode. Loved having Dempsey on. But to me, when you look at Baker Mayfield, we'll go back to the rankings here for a second. That's crazy to me. The 20th guy makes no sense. I just think that's absurd. Next up here, you have some, again, steady Eddie guys. You have Sam Darnold at 19, Mayfield at 20, who should be higher. He should be at least at 18. Sam Darnold, if you want to take Malik Willis over Sam Darnold, I get that. The rushing upside is there, sure. Tyler Shuck, nice safe option in Superflex as a top 20-ish quarterback. And the other guy, too, we'll talk about is Daniel Jones. Now, Daniel Jones last year was part of a team that was, when he got hurt, basically leading the AFC, right? They were the number 1 seed. Everything was breaking right for Shane Steichen in that offense. Shane Steichen's really good, okay? Let's not forget, Shane Steichen is the offensive mind that got the Eagles to the Super Bowl with a ring, okay? He's the guy that got them there, to the promised land. So, Daniel Jones, I understand coming off the injury, plenty of concern. I do think he will rush for close to 300-plus yards this year. I think people will be surprised as the season goes on. He will get more comfortable rushing again. If he can get you more than 20 touchdowns and he can get you more than 3,600 yards, you're in a really good spot with him. So, for me, Daniel Jones is a risk. He's a value. I was able to get him as my 3rd quarterback this weekend in the flex draft, which I love. Daniel Jones to cover bye weeks is a beautiful thing. And people right now are really afraid because of the injury, and rightfully so. Those are tricky injuries. People will say, well, it's the push-off leg and all these other. I get it. I understand. It's your 3rd quarterback, though. Man, it's good. Or if quarterback just gets away from you in Superflex, man, it's a really good situation because there's upside there with them. And then you can go take one more quarterback. If Jones is your 2, you can turn right back around and take Bryce Young or Kyler Murray and take another shot. What also surprised me about these rankings so far and these consensus on RotoWire is Geno Smith at 23, higher than Kyler Murray at 26. Sure, there's risk with Kyler Murray. I would have Kyler Murray at 23. I would have Geno Smith down further. Cam Ward at 24 works for me. I think there's upside there. I love the work ethic. I love the new coaching staff. I love Carnell Tate. I love everything about their offseason. It could not have gone better for the Tennessee Titans, and I hope they turn things around because they seem like they got a lot of good people there, and I'd like to see Robert Saleh that second time around succeed as a head coach. You got a raw deal with the New York Jets. Bryce Young at 25 is fine. Again, Kyler Murray over Bryce Young for me personally. That's where I would put them. Jordan Love, way too low in these rankings at 28. Way too low. Jordan Love should probably be around 20. If you can come away with Jordan Love as your QB2 in Superflex, you can live with that for sure. Tucker Kraft seems to be heading in the right direction. Christian Watson, hopefully a full season from him. You've still got Jaden Reed. There's still questions. There's things I don't love. I do think Jordan Love is one of the more overrated QBs, especially when it comes to payment. You know, Jordan Love is a guy that is making $50 million a year average salary. That's a lot. That's big-time QB stuff. And he hasn't quite been a big-time QB. He's been a good one. And he's had some moments of very good. Back to the rankings here, because I want you to see this for yourself on RotoWire. You'll see Cam Ward at 24, Bryce Young at 25, Kyler Murray at 26. Murray over Young, Ward over Murray for me. Fernando Mendoza, I'm going to push below Jordan Love for sure, because we know he's not going to start the season. I still can't imagine we get to October with Kirk Cousins. I know a lot of people think he's going to sit a whole year. I think that's crazy. How are you going to start to turn this organization? You can't sit this kid for a whole year. If you're the Raiders, you've been so irrelevant for so long. I want the kid to develop properly too. I think he will play. I think he will play at least 8 games. So just keep that in mind. That 8 games is the number you should be pushing for here in your mind with Mendoza this year in redraft. Again, it's only a super flex problem, so you don't have to worry about that. Aaron Rodgers, I'm out. Jacoby Brissett as a third quarterback I can live with. Tua Tagovailoa already dealing with a back issue at 31. Shedeur Sanders at 32. Completely cross off Deshaun Watson from your list, I think. Just don't even bother. It's not worth the risk. Penix, health issues abound. If Tua's not healthy and Penix isn't healthy, things could get real tricky for the Atlanta Falcons. And then, of course, you've got Kirk Cousins, who's going to open the season. Mac Jones, Carson Beck, kind of the backups here. So only in a very deep superflex am I even caring about adding some more depth. But I think what we're looking at here is something very clear, which is it is a deep position this year. You have got the guys at the top that are very good. You've got 12 deep easy. You can go into the Goff Purdy range in a single quarterback league and still come out getting to the playoffs. I think that's a very easy thing to do. Then you have some risk in there. In that group, guys like Jaden Daniels will be a risk, but a huge reward if it hits. Somewhere in the middle works for me. The farther he falls, that's great. Drake May being undervalued right now for me in these rankings on RotoWire. See if that same thing happens in drafts. It's not going to happen in Superflex. He was a top 5 pick there, as he should be. That makes sense. But I am more than happy to live with Brock Purdy. The other thing, too, is looking at, in those Superflex leagues, I was in the 6th spot. And what I realized was if I didn't take one of those elite quarterbacks, things could get tricky when you're in the middle of a draft. You're kind of the subject of one run on one side and the one run on the other, and you're kind of just in the middle, hoping that you can carve things out. Last year, I drafted a team that went to the finals, and I took Joe Burrow 6th at the 6th spot. And this year I had the 6th spot, and I took Joe Burrow again. And I'm hoping he doesn't get hurt 2 years in a row. But when I took Joe Burrow, the thought process was, there will probably be 1 or 2 other quarterbacks, if not 3 taken, that's going to keep pushing some of those other skill position players I like back to me. And sure enough, I was correct because Justin Jefferson made it back to me in the 2nd round. Perfect. Let's go. Start a team there with Justin Jefferson and Joe Burrow. I am ready to rock with that bad boy. It was a half PPR, so then I went running back for the next couple picks. Very happy with the way that roster shook out at the end of the day. And then there's always ground to make up at wide receiver because of the depth. But if Joe Burrow's healthy, the sky's the limit. He is 30-plus touchdowns. He is potentially 4,500 yards. He could even approach 5,000 if everything broke right for them. Joe Burrow is that guy that could contend with Josh Allen, Lamar for that number 1 spot, and Drake May too. Josh Allen's still the very best, but Joe Burrow, to me, if you get him at a good value this year coming off an injury-plagued season where he finished really strong, that's a guy that's a potential difference maker. And I want this show to be a difference maker. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you drop your comments. We need the comments for you to win. And make sure you subscribe so you can win the Zay Flowers autographed jersey. I was trying to give it away. I was so excited because we hit 1,000 so fast, but person didn't get back to me. So I'm not going to wait forever. It's back on the table. It's a free agent, just like me. So I hope you're enjoying all the content here. I love what everybody said so far. Can't thank you enough for finding the channel. And I know a lot of people are still kind of waking up, kind of getting the crud out of their eyes and saying, oh yeah, it's football season. Where's Joe? I'm right here. Fandom NFL, YouTube, also wherever you get your podcast to. Don't forget, if you listening on the go, the podcasts are available on Spotify, on iHeart, Amazon Music, iTunes, Apple, everything. It's all there for you. And if you're looking for a new spot for tools because you want something that's a little bit more up to date with what's happening that looks like it's from 2026, check out RotoWire. Download the app today, see for yourself, and use that promo code JOEYP. You get 20% off and you support me at the same time. What a perfect marriage of things. Fantastic. We're going to do more of these breakdowns by position, talk it out with you, and have some great guests. This week, Dave Richard from CBS is going to join me. Can't wait for that show. So again, stick around, ring the bell, be here all the time. Subscribe to Fandom NFL. That's going to do it for me, Joey P. But we'll see you next time, kids. It's been fun talking football with you.